How's it going, everybody? Today, I'm very excited to announce my guest. He's a former tight end for the University of Florida, a TikTok creator with over 229,000 followers, and a guy with the craziest walk-on story of all time. Clifford Taylor, how are we doing today, my man?
Good. How you doing, man?
I'm blessed. I'm blessed. So I'm happy to have you on the show. But first and foremost, we know we got to rep that hometown. I think you're already kind of doing it. So tell us a
Oh
little
yeah,
bit. Tell us a little bit about your hometown and what makes it so special.
Charlotte, man. It's I mean, I think just watching it, grow from. I mean, it was always an amazing city when I was there, but seeing it propel to what it is right now. I mean, you have so much stuff in Uptown. We don't call it downtown, people. We call it Uptown Charlotte. That's our thing. But just like seeing how much the city has grown, like the economy. Like I went home earlier this year and I didn't even recognize some of the neighborhoods and like some of the new buildings. I had to like you put in my maps to kind of drive my way around, which I never thought I would have to do. So just seeing how much the city has grown is real heartwarming. And I think I claim my hometown more than I think anybody on this campus. I mean, I think everybody and their mom knows that I'm from Charlotte. I mean, I wear this hat like all the time. So this is my favorite hat like ever. So
Yeah, yeah. For those who ain't watching, my man's rocking a Charlotte Hornets hat right now. Back in the day, he got that ugly old Panthers flag in the back, man. You know I'm a Saints fan. You can't be doing me like that.
well, hey man, we both had to suffer at the hands of watching
Tom, the
let's
goat.
just call him what he is, the GOAT, win a
Uh,
Super
the
Bowl.
goat. Facts, facts. So, back in your high school days, you never really played football. You were a beast on the hardwoods, my man. You were captain for 3 years, a two-time all-conference player in basketball. Kind of what was your recruiting process like for basketball, and how'd you wind up at Florida?
It was very non-traditional, I would say, because everywhere I played, even AAU, I just ended up always playing the four or the five. Like I hardly ever dribbled the ball, and if I did, and coaches would just be like, "Don't ever do that again," or something to that sort. But like the most D1, I guess, communication, or I guess people that I spoke to would be Clemson and West Virginia. But that was really it. I didn't really talk to anyone at that level, but there was a ton of D2 schools that offered. Queens, I think, offered just about everyone, and so Queens was definitely something I was leaning towards if I didn't get into Florida. But the reason I decided to go to Florida was because my dad went to Florida. I have cousins, aunts, a whole plethora of relatives that went to Florida. I don't think we don't have any Seminoles or Hurricanes in our family, at least not to my knowledge. So, like I said, I grew up a Gator fan. I grew up on Tim Tebow, the Gators that won the back-to-back titles in basketball. So it made the most sense. And so once I got into Florida, I shut everything down. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go here as a student, and whatever happens, happens. I always had this little fantasy of like, okay, well, if I come here, I may be able to walk on, but if not, cool. At least, like I said, I'm going to my dream school. So,
Yeah.
and I think everything's worked out pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely everything's worked out. A little sidebar. I actually met Tim Tebow one time. Actually, I work for a minor league team here in Erie, Pennsylvania, and he was playing baseball now. So, whenever he was in double A ball, he came to Erie, and I was actually a bat boy. I was working in the clubhouse. I bumped into him. He wasn't the nicest dude to me, but I mean, hey, when you're in the middle of a game and all that, I get it.
Yeah.
But anyways, back back to our original topic here. So yeah, everything worked out well. After your plan fell through in regards to like your basketball and everything like that, you opted to stay at Florida and pursue your graphic design career. My man, you was balling out in a quick little flag football game. I'm gonna let you tell the story a little bit later in the next question. But first and foremost, I just kind of want to know why you chose to stay at Florida, even though you weren't really playing a sport.
Well, part of it is I just had too much. I had too much fun, and I've made I made so many friends my freshman and in sophomore year, and I could just remember, because I was born in Raleigh, North Carolina, and so I stayed there for the first 6 years of my life. And when it was time to move, I was just shattered. When I got to Charlotte initially, I didn't want to make new friends. I didn't want to meet anybody new. I didn't want to go places and be like the outsider. And so there were actually times where I thought about going home, but then we actually ended up moving to Orlando. So I was even thinking at one point of going to UCF, but I was like, I can't do this. And kudos to my best friend. His name's Jared John. He actually also went to Fort Mill High, and then so he goes to Florida State, and his story is kind of like mine. His parents or his dad went to Florida State, so he grew up a Seminole fan. So I definitely had some conversations with him. So that definitely helped me down a little bit and staying at Florida, and it was the best decision I ever made because those following years I made even more friends, and just like the whole experience of just being one of the 90,000 on Saturdays. I mean, I don't think people realize how crazy it gets. Nowadays I see people talk about Clemson, Penn State, those are all great places. I'm not taking anything away from them, but you have not lived until you have been in Ben Hill Griffin Stadium on a hot Saturday at 3:30 when it's on CBS for the whole world to see. I think people, underestimate that a little bit. But like I said, Florida's been the best experience ever.
Yeah, for sure. So we got to hear it. It's kind of your claim to fame a little bit, my man. You got to tell us about your crazy journey to becoming a walk-on for the Florida Gators football team.
Okay. So we gotta for this, we gotta go back to my sophomore year. So my sophomore year, a couple of good friends of mine who live a couple floors above me right now, we all decided to play intramural flag football. I played flag football like once in high school, but it was nothing more than like maybe 10 minutes. And so I just happened to have some shoes that were really good on the grass. So I was like, I guess I gotta wear these. And so my buddy had some spare gloves, and so we played for weeks, and the only game that I think we lost was to like a bunch of 30-year-olds in the playoffs. But one day in particular, I remember seeing two guys. One of them I actually knew. I was pretty cool with Quaylen Crum, who was a walk-on linebacker for the Gators. So I didn't really talk to him much about walking on before, so I just kind of like knew him. And then there was another guy I saw who was a lot more like built, and he had like all the gear, like how college athletes that wear the slides, the sweats, and the bull bag and stuff like that. So he wore that, and so we play our flag game. I had like four touchdowns that game. It was just one of those nights. And so I remember talking to him after the game, or he came up to me and he asked me. He said, "Have you ever thought about playing actual football?" And I was like, "For who?" And he's like, "Florida." And I was like, "No, I've never played a down in football in my life." What do you mean? He's like, "Well, you look like you know what you're doing out here." But I countered. I was like, "Yeah, but my man, this is flag football. If they were tackling me, this would probably be a whole different story." But he told me just think about it. He gave me his number and all that stuff. So we stayed pretty close friends, and that I think that week led up to the LSU game. So again, 3:30 on a Saturday is the biggest game of the year. It was a blowout. It was Coach Mullen's first year. And so that was when Brad Stewart had the pick six to win it. And so the swamp was crazy. And so, I thought about it that whole game. And so I was like, man, it's like, I kind of want to do this. This sounds like a really good investment. So I went home and I chopped it up with the two guys. And I was like, look, man, I think I'm gonna do it. I think I want to do it. And so they were all for it. My friends were all for it. And so I had to call the final authority, my parents. And so my mom, she kept questioning me. She was like, "Why do you want to do it all of a sudden?" And I was just like, well, it takes a little bit of inspiration for me to want to do something. So, why not? And so my dad was the total opposite. My dad was totally on board with it. He's like, "Yeah, son, do it. And I was like, all right, I guess I'm doing this. And so from that point on, from then, I want to say all the way to February, I was just, trying to get in the best shape I could, work on my routes, my hands as much as I could, because at the time, I think I stood at like 6'4", 200 even. I wish I could show you a picture of me when I was, back then. I was very, very skinny. I'm talking skinnier than Kevin Durant, like very skinny. And so over the course of that time, I got relatively cool with some of the guys on the team. I was cool with Grimes, Trey Grimes, Felipe. I've seen a couple times. I was cool with Kyle Trask a little bit too. Lucas Kroll, who was there at the time. Pitts, of course. And so I would just talk to them about like trying to walk on. And they would just tell me like little snippets of what I should hear and what I need to know and who to talk to. And I figured they were just giving me any random number, but it turned out to be true. So I reached out to some of the compliance people, the player personnel about trying out and if there's going to be a tryout. And so they told me, yeah, there's going to be one in mid-February. And so fast forward to February, I go to the tryout. It's only 4 of us, me, one of my friends, and 2 others. And so, no, actually, no, three of my friends. It was me, my friend Mike came in, and this other guy's name was Kyle. So we all were there, and it wasn't even like an actual. It was almost like an agility workout because it was during what's it called, the dead period, where coaches aren't allowed to have like in-person visits or not allowed to use a ball for any like workouts or something like that. So it was just straight agility and conditioning for it wasn't even long. It was like 40 minutes. And so I was trying my best to just like stay up. I was trying not to put my head on my head or like down on my knees. I was just trying to be like, all right, what do you got? What do you got? So the tryout ends. And so they tell us that, they'll let us know that night if we make it or not. And so one of the guys that was hosting it, he asked me at like 2 seconds after that, he's like, what's your class schedule like? And I told him my class schedule, and he just whispered in my ear, he's like, all right, we'll see you tomorrow. And I was like, oh snap. I was like, did I just make the team? And so I'm like walking, I'm like, did he really just say that? And I was like, I think he did just say that. So I'm running to my car, and as soon as I get in the car about to call my parents, I just hear a knock on my door. And so it was the same guy, and he's like, hey, we would love to have you, but your schedule kills you. And I'm like, what do you mean my schedule kills me? And he told me that the time that I have class interferes with the time they practice and have spring ball. So I was like, so what does that mean for me? And he was like, oh no, that means you'll still be around on the team. It just means you'll have to wait till the summer term. And I was like, oh man, are you serious? I gotta wait some more. So that was a Debbie Downer, but it just came and went so fast. I almost forgot about it. So fast forward to June, I'm taking summer classes. Days are flying by, so I'm starting to have a little doubt. Like, man, I ain't getting on this team. And sure enough, hey, it's John Clark, and I'm like, oh, hey. He's like, you ready? I'm like, yeah. So I went down, got all my, the physical, the EKG, all those tests you have to do to be able to play. And I had to like keep my composure because as I was doing all that, you had all the stars walking through in and out the door: Freddie Swain, Van Jefferson, Tyreek, like all those guys. And I'm just like, are we teammates now? Like, is this what this is now? And so that was a pretty cool experience. And then very first guy on the coaching staff that I met was Coach Savage, our strength coach. And first thing he said was like, what's up, big guy? You ready to train? And here I am, like a little kid, nothing more than 200 pounds. I'm like, yeah. Let's do it. And so he was just telling me that, I had to work out in like the early group, which I think at the time was like 7:30 or something like that. And so I was like, yeah, man. And so I set my alarm, I think, that day for like 5:30 because I was trying to be, like the first one in there. I don't even think I was too, which is the crazy part. But I was trying to show this, like, okay, I'm here, I'm in business. Let's do this thing. But there was a learning curve, and I don't think a lot of people realize this. It's like, if you've never played football before in your life, the only thing, I'll be real, the only thing I knew about football was the amount of people on the field, how many people can be, on the ball at one time, and how many people are on the O-line and all that good stuff. I didn't know anything about schemes, formations, the types of defenses that they run. I didn't know any of that. So that was a big learning curve that I had to adjust to in the 2 years I was there. So the first year was definitely like accelerated learning. I was learning about like different concepts and like everything. But kudos to Coach Scott, who was my tight end coach my junior year, and a lot of people don't give this guy credits, but Coach Julian Alonso. If it wasn't for and he's coached for the 49ers, the Charlotte 49ers before. So shout out to him. But if it wasn't for him and another walk-on teammate of mine, Dennis Gross, who was there for about a year or so, if it wasn't for those two, I ain't no telling how my second year would have went. I mean, they showed me everything I needed to learn. They showed me it's just so much. I can't even put it in words. Like I appreciate them. I even sometimes I send them text messages today. It's like, man, do you realize that like y'all are part of the reason that I'm doing all this stuff right now? And so I just send my appreciation to them. And so that first year was great. You got to experience games like the Auburn game, the Orange Bowl. All that was really cool. My second year when Coach Brewster came in, and it was great because it's like once you have a year in the system, it's like you're accustomed to it. So everything is almost like at the back of your hand. So the plays, the formations, all that was down. And so anytime they would send me signals on the sidelines during like training camp or during scrimmages, I'd be like, oh, I got you. So, like before, like my first year, I would just be like, what is it? What am I doing? But that's that second year, like I said, like my first year was so much fun. And, if I could do it all again, I would in a heartbeat, easy.
Yeah, for sure. I know you kind of just covered it, but what kind of adjustments did you have to make as far as like workouts and dieting and like really just kind of taking care of yourself to get yourself in shape to play Division I football? What kind of like adjustments did you have to make, and what kind of like maybe what kind of sacrifices you have to give up as well?
I definitely had to sacrifice the amount of like time I hung out with my friends, outside of football, because like, listen, man, football, I mean, it takes up a lot of your time
It's a
as it
full-time
is.
job, my man.
Yeah, full-time job as it is. And so I definitely my approach my second year was a lot, more enhanced than my first year, because I spent more time just like, looking at, film and understanding like why I'm doing certain things. Because, growing up, I had a pretty, I had pretty strict parents, and my dad would always ask me, he's like, okay, there's a why for everything you do. So why are you doing it? So that's the kind of the approach I took when, learning the plays and learning the system. Is like, okay, I'm doing this, but like, why am I doing this? So I had to like understand the offensive schemes, and I even tried to learn the defensive schemes a little bit, but I was like, yeah, we'll get down that road when we cross it. But definitely, I actually had to like, I remember writing down like every goal I had my second year or my senior year. And some of them, included getting stronger, because I think after my first season I was 240, so I wanted to get to at least 250, but mainly like muscle. Definitely having more field and football IQ, which I think I was able to accomplish as well. And also earning like a couple scout awards. So like every week or every game that we win, we have like this thing where it's like scout player of the week or something like that. So I got a couple of those too. So I was very I was very happy about that. So like I said, man, my second year, I was able to check off a lot of things off of that list. But like I said, it was a huge sacrifice.
Yeah, for sure. So what was it like running out of that tunnel for the first time as a member of the Florida Gators? I know like you kind of dreamed of it your whole childhood. So kind of give us that experience real quick.
It's funny to talk about now because I'm not with the guys anymore. But if you could maybe one day, someone somewhere somehow, there's gonna be a picture where you can see me like there are like tears like just lying down my face. I couldn't. I just genuinely could not believe it. I don't know how. I don't know why, but I was just like, thank you, thank you, thank you, because I swear it felt like I was in one of those movies where you're just like floating. Like when I was running out, I'm pretty sure my feet were not touching the ground for like a good like half of it. So I was running and I was just like, yeah, like I was just so full of like energy. I was doing a whole bunch of this so people couldn't really like see me crying, but it was definitely a dream come true, something I never in a million years thought could happen. So it was, oh man, it was incredible. Granted, it was only UT Martin, but man, to me, it felt like we were playing Alabama. So, so I
Yeah.
was I was very excited about that.
Yeah, it's like you went from being a fan like the previous, year, and now you're out here like suiting up for the team. That's insane.
Yeah.
So, who's the best player? You could throw out a couple names. This is going to be a tough question. Who's the best player you've ever played with and against during your time?
Best player I played with, easily Kyle Pitts. I think seeing him, how much he's like changed from my junior year to senior, seeing how much he's grown, because I honestly think he should have won the Mackey a year ago. When he wasn't even a finalist, I was very vocal about it. I'm like, man, you don't let them do you like that. And so just seeing how much his game has like excelled. I mean, it was already it was already like top tier enough, but seeing how much it's continued to grow and will continue to grow, it's been amazing. And a lot of people don't know this. Like Kyle, like he's one of those guys that kind of like keeps to himself, but he's like a really like hard worker. And he spends a lot of time with Coach Brew and Coach Mullen after practice. But he was like I said, he was so fun to be around. Even guys like Kyle Trask. Like I know a lot of times people think that these scholarship players, they don't like really associate with the walk-ons. That couldn't be further from the truth, at least from my experience. Kyle Trask was one of the coolest guys I met. I was actually pretty cool with the receivers too. Like you had guys like Grimes, Copeland, Freddie, Van. I was real cool with Justin Shorter, because he was kind of new. So I was actually trying to act like I knew everything that was going on. So, but he grew past that phase. Once he got his first couple touchdowns, I'm like, all right, man, this is your thing now. I was just a consultant, but yeah, like everybody on the team, we never had problems with each other. We all got along. Like I said, I never had a problem with any of them.
Yeah, man. How much did Kyle Pitts kind of help your game while you were there too? Because I know like you're just learning how to play like the tight end position, and then you're obviously learning behind one of the best in the entire NCAA. I mean, my man's about to get a bag this year. So how much did he kind of help your development, and what kind of did you learn from him?
I will give Kyle this, because I know I won't name drop him, but I know there were some tight ends who were kind of looking at me as like kind of this waste of space. And so I will say Kyle was real patient with me. Like I was trying to I was trying my best to to figure out everything. And like even guys like Coach Scott and Coach Julian, they were real patient with me. Like they understood that like I was new to all of this, but they could tell that I was trying really hard. So he definitely helped me with my release and my stance. He like all the little things that makes him who he is, he was helping me with. And so I'm not sitting here saying I was as good as Kyle, because I don't think anybody could be as good as Kyle, man. But he definitely helped me become more of an actual football player than just a basketball player just padded up. So I definitely got to give him some credit.
That's what's up. So when did you kind of start to get into content creating, and when did you realize you could be as successful as you are on apps such as TikTok and Instagram?
Oh man. So I at the time I already had a decent following from Instagram. I made House of Highlights like a couple times. It wasn't nothing super serious.
Yeah, no big deal. You just made it on House of Highlights. Not a big deal at all.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like, it wasn't for my TikToks. It was just like dunking videos, or just like a little skit video I did or something like that. Nothing of the TikTok sort. And so I kind of came in with a little bit of popularity, and so I didn't really think nothing of it. I was like, I'm not really gonna use my Instagram as much as they may think. But then some guys in our corner, we called it the walk-on corner, because it was like all of us in that one little corner. And so a couple of the specialists, they were on this app called TikTok. I had never heard of it. I had never heard of TikTok. I heard of, what's it called, like Musically and stuff like that. Like I had heard of that. And so I was like, oh, is this like another Vine? And they're like, yeah, but it's like a 15-second to a minute type of thing. And so I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And in my head, I was like, it's kind of stupid, because it's just a Vine ripoff. But they would show me videos, and like some of them were very funny. So I was like, oh, I gotta get on this, man. This is some funny stuff. And so I made an account, and one of the first videos I saw was it was like the I Know My Purpose challenge, where anyone like from sports to like even like girls, they'll just be like, I know my purpose, doing this and that. Like the one that I saw that did it for me was this white guy, like the only white guy on the black AAU team. And it was like shooting threes, giving them rides, facilitating, throwing dimes. And I was like, I was like,
I'm
man,
dead.
that's pretty good. And so I kept looking, and I was like, oh, no one's done this for football. And so I don't know what made me say that, because I was like, I'm not even a video guy. At least I didn't think I was. And so I was like, let me just try this. I mean, it looks fun. And so, I mean, you can even tell in my first video, like I had no idea there was a timer, none of that. Like I literally put my phone down and had to back up and like just wing it. And so I winged it in like one take, and then I tried my best with the editing, and I was like, this is going nowhere. And so before I even posted it, my friend Michael, he's like, make sure you use the hashtags for you. And I'm like, what you mean for you? Of course it's for me. What you mean? And he's like, no. For you is like that's the trending page. I'm like, oh, okay, gotcha. So he showed me all the hashtags to use, and I was like, let's see, football, college football, walk on, cool, posted it. And so I was like, all right, that's just there for like a personal laugh. And so then the next day, man, like I tell a lot of my friends, it's like I woke up and my phone felt like it was in the hot sun for like 60 minutes. I was like, why is my phone so hot? And then I just click, scrolling. It's just notifications for like 5 minutes. And I was like, what is going on? And then I go back on TikTok. I was actually prepared to delete the app, because I'm like, man, this thing is already creating a virus in my phone. Like why do I need this thing? And so I open it, and it said like 200,000 views. I'm like, wait a minute, what? This was just a joke. And then I refreshed, 210,000 views. I'm like, oh snap, did I just do that? And so that same day, I go into the team facility, and everybody's like, man, Cliff, what the hell is this? I'm like, what is what? Like I ain't do nothing. They're like, and then they were mocking it. They were just like, I'm like, oh, y'all seen that too? And they were like, yeah, we all got TikTok. I'm like, wait a minute, y'all know about this? And so they were clowning me for it. And so it got to a point where it got to like 500,000 views. I was like, man, this has got to be like a joke. This has got to be like a one-time thing. And so I left it. I left it there for about, I want to say almost a month. And then I did another one that was, again, cheesy, but I got like 20,000 views. I'm like, what? And so then I did a third one, and I got like 100,000 views. And then my fourth one was the one that was everywhere. The fourth one, it was like college football players, during Christmas break while everyone's at home. And so Overtime posted it, a whole bunch of Gator pages posted it. I'm like, oh snap, like I'm blowing up. And so once that happened, I just started, like, all these ideas just started just coming just like out of nowhere. And I was like, man, I'm pretty good at this. And so I would continue to do them. And then in the off season, I was like, man, what am I gonna do? It's like football season's over. No one's really gonna tune in. And so again, I was wrong, because I did one where it was like players walking in at 6 a.m, and their strength coaches are like dancing and doing whatever they want. And then again, that went everywhere. And I was like, this right here, this is me. This is my act. This is what I do now. And so I would do some. And then when quarantine happened, I did at least 3 videos a week. I was just posting and posting and posting. Like I said, I had nothing to do but class, and it was all on Zoom. So I had all the time in the world. I could just, hide the video and be like, all right, let's do this video. And like I said, some of them would blow up, some of them would do okay. And then that's when like people started reaching out to me about, like deals and brands. And I was like, I don't even know if I'm allowed to do this. Like most of them I would just leave unopened, because it's like, I don't even know if I'm allowed to do this. And so fast forward to about, when did I drop that video? May. Yeah, May. That's when my signature TikTok was all over the place. You remember the one where I had like the headphones and I was like listening to music, and it went from some like hardcore rap to like Big Time Rush or something like that.
Yeah.
That was the deal breaker. I mean, that was on ESPN, Bleacher Report, House. It was everywhere. And so that was my signature moment. And then it was even on iFunny. Like, when's the last time we've used iFunny? Like when we were like, what, like 10, 11?
Yeah,
Like
something like
people
that.
would send me that. I'm like, is this real? Is that still a thing? Like I didn't know it was still a thing. And so I was like, man, this is for real. And so I want to say from that video to July, my videos were just at their best. Like that period was the peak, I think, of my TikTok career so far. It got to a point where I even started talking to some people, some TikTok personnel. Like they were the ones that actually changed my TikTok name from just Clifford Taylor IV to just Clifford, like my first name. So I think, that right there is just, that's as dope as it gets. And
That's
so
clean, bro.
so yeah, so they did that, and then they would continue to like send me TikTok merch, and like they sent me like some sort of like skateboard for like New Year's. It's like they sent it to all the content creators for them to like put on the wall. But it's like, well, I'm about to move out here in a couple months, so I'll just wait till I get a house or something like that. But
Yeah.
they sent me a whole bunch of stuff. Still waiting on that blue check, but that's another story. But
Hey, it's coming. It's coming.
yeah, that's what they always say. But yeah, that, like I said, my senior season, everybody, every coach, I don't think one coach called me by my actual name almost all season. They all was like, "What's up, TikTok? Come on, TikTok." I'm like, doesn't that like, aren't you tired of that? Like, doesn't that bore y'all? And then, well, sure enough, it didn't. That's what I was known for around the whole team. And everybody sometimes, like during camp, I would just take a break for a rep, and then they'll be like, "Man, your videos are hilarious, man." I'll just be like, "Wait, what?" Because like I don't think about it like when I'm in practice. I'm like, dude, it's like I'm in practice, man. Like let me just practice, and we can talk about this, afterwards. But it's been such a joyride. And then what was really cool was a couple weeks ago I was able to take over the Florida Gators TikTok account.
Yeah, I
And
saw that.
so going into it, I was really nervous. I was like, man, this is not gonna work. This is not gonna do good. And so, I reached out to some athletes because I knew some, but I didn't know as much as I would like. So I was just reaching out to athletes, and fortunately, I thank every single one of them. But they were replying. They were saying, "Yeah, we're not doing anything. We would love to be a part of it." I'm like, "Oh, this is perfect." So that whole day, I was just all over campus. I was trying new sports. Like I went back to the football facilities. I went to the basketball facilities, which was really cool. I was trying to see if I could rock a jersey for like a couple seconds, but that's neither here nor there. I was hanging out with some golf players. I was hanging out with the soccer team. Like it was so fun. And the basketball video that everyone's seen is like 3 seconds left in the game, 3, 2, and kept adding time and time. And so once that got to Sports Center, I was like, okay, I've officially done okay. I've done all right. And so I didn't even realize it, but the Gators media team, they told me that their followers count went from 112,000 to almost 160,000
Dang,
just from
that's
that one
crazy.
week. And I was like, are you serious? And so I was like, what is going on? And I was like, is this my calling? Because graphic design, well, those jobs will come. But I was like, is social media like what I'm meant to do? I don't want to get ahead of myself, but is this what I'm supposed to be doing? And so last couple of weeks I've been applying to a couple of jobs, including the NBA. Had an interview with them a couple of days ago, actually.
That's what's
So
up.
hoping to get that job once I graduate. And so, like I said, the offers and the opportunities and people reaching out have been swarming in, and I've just been so humbled by it. And I know a lot of people will remember what I'm about to say, but if it was not for the Florida Gators, the University of Florida, ain't no telling where I'd be right now. To be honest, I'd probably be a Clemson Tiger or a North Carolina Tar Heel, one of the two. But like I said, man, if it wasn't for the Gators taking a chance on a kid who's never played football in his life, I wouldn't have the TikTok merch. I wouldn't have any of that. So I give a lot of credit to the Florida Gators for that one. So
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I grew up a Seminoles fan, but as I started this podcast and everything, I kind of I cheer for players more so than I do teams nowadays. So, I always like a cool success story. But we gotta let everybody know, my man. You kind of covered it, touched on it a little bit, but what's next for you, man? We're all very excited. We're very excited to see your success you've had early on, but this is only the beginning, bro. We got to know what's next.
well, what's next is I have about a couple months of school at the University of Florida, and then after that, graduating, straight job searching. I've already started the process of applying. Like I applied for an internship at Wilson. Waiting to hear from them. Of course, I did the MBA. I think I'm gonna look more into like communications, like with ESPN, Fox Sports. I actually had an interview with Sinclair Broadcast Group, and they're in affiliation with like Fox Sports Florida, Texas, and a whole bunch of places. So I'm gonna keep looking for jobs in the social field, keep doing jobs, in the graphic design field, volunteering and interning just to get that experience. And so to answer a lot of people's TikTok questions, are you going to the NFL? No, that's Kyle's job. That's Pitts' job. He's gonna hold it down for us. And I told Kyle this. I said if he gets drafted by the Carolina Panthers, those field access tickets better be in my mailbox. He has no choice because he is going to my city. So look, man, I'll be your representative, man. So I told him, I was like, man, if you end up in Charlotte, those tickets better come in hot, man, for real. I mean, we're already PSL owners, but I would love to get some field access. Maybe flex from a TikTok, maybe one time or something.
Real quick. All right, bro. I got one last question for you. What kind of advice can you pass along to all those young kids out there, even adults, trying to chase their dreams, whatever it may be? What kind of advice can you pass along to them?
That's great. I remember I put this out on my Instagram a couple weeks ago. So when I shared the whole video that I made from TikTok showing my journey from basketball to football, and I remember saying there is no such thing as it being too late to chase a dream. Whether you're 10, 20, or even 50, there's no such thing, because I literally just walked into Florida with no experience and was able to live a dream that I'm sure millions and millions of kids, want to achieve. And so when these guys ask me for advice about walking on and stuff, I'm more than happy to help them out, because again, I was once in their shoes, and I've never really been a conceited or a self-centered person. So it's like, if I can help the next generation of walk-ons, come in, and I can be that sort of inspiration, I will. And I think a lot of people don't realize this is like, they have probably a better advantage than I did, because they're probably more coordinated. They know the game. They've been playing for years. Like I said, I had only been playing for like a couple months, and so like I said, man, it is never ever too late to chase a dream. And if you want to walk on, you could walk on to Texas, you could walk on to Arizona, Oklahoma. I got a couple good friends, at LSU and Oklahoma, who are also walk-ons. We stay in touch all the time. So like I said, man, it's never too late to chase a dream. And like I always say on my TikToks, go be great. So
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Clifford Taylor, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for hopping on the show today, man. I appreciate it. We're all definitely excited for your journey as you continue, to do great things in this world, my man. So once again, thank you so much for hopping on the show today.
yes, sir, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.